Hello, and welcome to today's Quick Plays video on pot geometry. Understanding this concept can help you choose better value bet sizes in real time, which can crucially influence your win rate. In this video, I'll show you what pot geometry is, why small changes can make a big impact, and how to use our spreadsheet to practice this on your own. First, what is pot geometry? Pot geometry looks at what every dollar put into or not put into the pot does to the final pot size. It's easy to understand that if we were to bet half pot on every street, the final pot size will be different than if we would have bet full pot on every street. But how big of a difference is it really? Well, let's look at an example with 3 different sizing strategies and see how sizes relate to final pot sizes. In this hand, we open from middle position with ace-king suited, the cutoff calls, and we see a heads-up flop of jack-9-4 with our flush draw. In this first example, we'll bet half pot on each street, and the cutoff will call us down. Notice that the final pot size is $60. In this second rendition, instead of betting half pot on each street, we're bet 2/3. Notice that when we get called down, that the final pot size is $96. And in this final rendition, instead of betting half pot or 2/3, we're actually just going to pot it on each street. Notice that when the cutoff calls us down, we're actually able to get our entire stack in on the river. We used 3 slightly different sizes, but they result in very different final pot sizes. This can be the difference between winning a decent pot and winning that home run pot. The largest influencer of each example was the river bet size, which is usually going to be between 50% and 100% of the pot size on the river. If the pot on the river is very small, it's going to be tough to make a big bet that isn't outlandish given the pot size. Betting $100 on the river is going to raise many more eyebrows if the pot size is $20 versus $150. So choosing correct sizes on the flop and turn is important as well to ensure the pot size on the river is large enough to make a reasonable value bet. Understanding the correlation between half, full, and 2/3 pot size bets and the final pot size is great, but what about other bet sizes like 3/4? Or what if you bet 2/3 on the flop and then full pot on the turn? Well, because today is your lucky day, you can use our free tool for further exploration. You can download this tool from the pokerbank.com tools spreadsheets or by using the link in the description box. But once you get it downloaded, you can have a lot of fun by plugging in some simple numbers and seeing how things change. Basically, you get a few things in this spreadsheet. You can plug in some simple numbers like effective stack sizes and bet size percentage per street to then visualize everything in the graph on the right. The graph shows you the effective stack sizes starting each street in blue, the pot size in green, and the bet size in gold. Notice how if we change any number at all, that we get immediate visual feedback on the graph on the right. Now I want to show you this tool for 2 reasons. First is that you should experiment a bit and see how things change when you alter your size per street. Notice what the final pot size is and how little changes can drastically alter how much you can win. Remember when you're playing with this that everything is in percentages or big blinds, not dollar amounts. The second reason why I wanted to bring up this tool is to highlight a difference between live and online poker. In online poker, it's very standard to open to 3x the big blind. So if we plug in 3 as the preflop raise size and use 75% on every street, we notice that the final pot size comes out to roughly 117. But in live poker, it's a little different, and open raise sizes tend to be larger, especially at 1-2 and 1-3. So if we change the preflop raise size to 5 and keep everything else at 75%, we notice that the final pot size now is 180. Just a small change in the preflop raise size can create a vastly different final pot size. Now a smart player is going to use this to their advantage. They will consider the pot size that they want to make against their opponent and choose the correct sizing strategy. If you flop a huge hand against a bad opponent, you likely want to veer away from making a standard 2/3 pot size bet, and instead make a full pot size bet to get his stack in on the river. That is pot geometry in a nutshell. Think about what every big blind you put into the pot will do to the final pot size. New players get so focused on always making the same bet size, and in doing so miss out on huge value from bad players who will gladly call half pot as often as they'd call full pot. Never choose a size just because it's your default size. Make sure your bet sizes are appropriately made for your pot size goal against your particular opponent. Same as always, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to let me know. Otherwise, good luck and happy grinding.